Hello guys, my name is Abyaz Attaqee Shah Oktora, and this is the first part of my multi-part video series about the class I am currently attending right now, which is Wireless Communication and Convergence Net. So in these videos, I will be summarizing the contents of each week's lecture into a single quick to watch video. So the lecture for week 1 is titled NGN, or Next Generation Network. So let's get straight into the lecture, into my summarization of the lecture itself. So the first part is definition. So what is NGN? So NGN, or Next Generation Network, is a packet-based network able to provide telecommunication services and able to make use of multiple broadband QoS-enabled transport technologies in which service-related functions are independent from underlying transport-related technologies. So there are two subparts in this part of the lecture, principles and features. So now we are going to go to the first subpart. So the first subpart is the key principles of NGN. So there are three of them. The first one is open architecture, which means that it is open to support service creation, service updating, and incorporation of service logic provision by third parties, which basically in a nutshell means that it is open to third parties editing or changing significant portions of the architecture without the specific permission of the creator. So this is the opposite of closed architecture, in which it is hard for third parties to significantly change an architecture without the permission of the creator of the architecture itself. So the second key principle of NGN is independent provisioning, which means that service provision process should be separated from network operation by using distributed open control mechanisms. This is done to promote competition among network operators in order to ensure that the quality of service always improves. And the last key principle of NGN is multiplicity, which means that NGN functional architecture shall offer the configuration flexibility it needs to support multiple access technologies. So now we are going to the second subpart of definition, which is features. So here I will show you the features of NGN. So here is all of them, the features that is inside a next generation network. So now we are going to move on to the second part of this lecture. So requirements. So this has two subparts, the same as before, services and objectives. So we're going to talk about services first. So the services that is expected to be supported in NGN, there are five of them. So the first is multimedia services, the second is data communication services, the third is PSTN or ISDN simulation services, the fourth is PSTN/ISDN emulation services, and the last one is public interest services. Sorry. And the second subpart is objectives. So NGN service developments, and there are four of them. So the first one is it is not just a new voice network. The second is the service level needs to be equal or better than in circuit switch networks. The third is services specified in terms of required capabilities. And the last one is precise service definitions are not an objective like in legacy networks. So that wraps up the second part for us. So now we are going to move on to the third part of the lecture. So this third part is going to talk about architecture. So more specifically, it's going to talk about the architecture of a next generation network. So here we have an example of a next generation network here. So this is the overall NGN architecture of it. So here we have the management functions, the applications, the functions from other service providers, and functions from other networks. And we have two stratums here, the service stratum and the transport stratum. Okay, so now we are going to quickly move on to the fourth part of the lecture, which is QoS, security and mobility. So in this part, they're going to talk about the objectives of each of this. So now we're going to just quickly mention the QoS objectives. So we're going to talk about QoS first. So the first objective is, for QoS I mean, is that end-to-end quality of service environment for the services are offered to end users. The second is that NGN will provide architectures, mechanisms, and guidelines to enable end-to-end QoS. And the last one is to focus on resource and admission control, including coordination between access and core, as well as between cores and other next-generation networks. So the second subpart is going to talk about the objectives for security. So the first is to address the following security dimensions: access control, authentication, non-repudiation, data confidentiality, communication security, data integrity, availability, and privacy, and addressing the incremental security features required for secure interconnections between other NGNs and also other existing networks. And the last subpart is about the objectives for mobility. So for mobile users' requirement is that seamless and transparent mechanism for roaming between network operators and continued access to tailored services from a variety of environments while using a variety of terminals with varying capabilities. So what it means is that no matter where you are or what you are using, it needs to be seamless and transparent for the mechanisms for you to use moving between network operators. Okay, so now we are going to the last part of the lecture, which is the examples for next generation networks. So here we have one of the examples here, which is 21CN, which is a simplified United Kingdom network, UK network I guess. And so here up top we have the structure for the legacy network. So this is the old network. So as you can see here, there are many lines. That's bad.